Okay, good morning traders. Welcome to the Bookmap live trading webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap. I'll be your host, and we're going to go through live analysis here. The whole concept behind our education is to provide you with high quality education. The whole concept behind that you can apply to your trading from the live market here. We have an educational course that goes through the same course content here. And then we have live trading from Jay Trader, Stocks Trader on Wednesday, and Thursday, Scott Pulcini, a futures trader. Plus, we have a host of several other educators over on our Discord channel and also on YouTube. So, for example, if we just take a look on or YouTube, let me show you. So here we are streaming now. We have Tom B next. We have Doug trading with options after that later today. We also have the Algo Boys. They are not listed here in YouTube. They are on our Discord channel. So if you go over to our Discord channel and you scroll down in the different areas in here, you'll see, where are they? Right here, the Algo Boys. Okay, this is them. And you'll see there, I'm in their text channel at the moment. So you can access live analysis over there at starting 2:30 every day. All right, so 2:30 to 4 p.m. East Coast times, and this is during the close. So in the morning we have Rain, who goes through crypto markets from 8:30 to 9:30. So we have quite a lineup for you guys. We think it's high quality education. We're happy to provide it for you. Let's jump in and look at the order flow. All right, let's go through the disclosures quickly. General disclosure: all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor trade recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Okay, so guys, over in Discord, let me know if you have any questions. You can hit it up right in the advanced webinar chat room, and also on YouTube in the chat there. So good morning, Luke, and Mike O. All right, let's jump in. Let's take a look at the live markets here and see what's going on. We're going to look at the S&P E-mini and take it from there. All right, so let's see what's happening here. So interesting kind of moves, and we're also gonna take a step back here and look at the bigger picture. It is vitally important to have a bigger picture view of what's going on and levels of interest. We're going to apply that to our trading in here, but we're also going to apply that much lower time frame analysis here in Bookmap. We have a reason for it, so that you can get under your belt as many examples of order flow so that you can apply it to any type of style of trading. All right, so looking at what we see here from here's the London session or European session starting at 2 a.m. East Coast time. A lot of chop, a lot of liquidity here at 38.50 filled. Still a lot of chop, and then it starts to go below that 38.50 right in here. Then we have the cash open. You can see the back and forth in here, below it initially, above it, and then right back down again into high liquidity here at 38.30. Okay, so nice move into 38.30, and we've been bouncing around since then. All right, so well, let's just go through a quick read here in the order flow and what's going on. We can see the we're bearish here until we see something different. We can see the structure here, and we can see another structure here. Okay, a little bit of overlay there, but just because of the swing over here, right? So basically, it is more like this, and then we see the drop there. Okay, so if we can get our buyers back up here at 42, 42 and a half, well, the point of control or most traded level, which makes sense, is right here. And at around 46, 45 and a half, then likely we'll continue on higher. All right, so looking for those buyers up at this 42 and a half if we can get them. Right now, we're going to stay bearish until we see something different. All right, so the structure here, break, another structure here. Here's a retest, and we're coming back down. All right, so let's go through some quick scenarios, and then I really want to jump back, and we want to look at this higher time frame. I've got something to tell you from Tuesday, and our read on Tuesday. All right, so yeah, really back and forth in this move here. Strong buying here, followed by, again, strong buying. Okay, now the strong selling, it's not so strong in here. Yeah, I'd be looking for these buyers. Let's see if they can come in. Here they are already. Now, 42. That's where we're looking for these buyers to take it. All right, so let's see if they can do that. That would be our initial read here. Even though we just covered, we are bearish unless we see those buyers up at 42, like big green dots up here at 42 and a half or so. All right, so if we don't, right, let's go through the next scenario. So, and actually the next scenario is probably the most likely. It should be the first scenario. We're looking for a fade up here at these around this 40 area, and we'd be looking for maybe some exhaustion here on the buy side, sellers down here around 38 and a half, and then the move down to 35, and then maybe 30. All right, so that's most likely scenario due to this structure that we just talked about. The break below this rectangle here into this rectangle. All right, so we're just thinking that, well, if we can get those buyers up here, then likely back to point of control and maybe even higher, 38.50. All right, so that's the other possible scenario here. All right, let's jump back. Let's take a look at our bigger picture. All right, so the candlestick charts we're going to look at here. The daily candlestick chart here is on the left. The hourly with the regular trading hours in the middle, and then the 15-minute here on the right. So this is the the last, well, this is the entire week, right? Let's see, this was on the 26th. Yeah, 26. Okay, so all right, well, some really interesting price action in here, I feel. We were looking at around here on the hourly on Tuesday. Let me just zoom in a little bit closer here because got a little too many bars in here. Let's look at half that. Maybe a little more than that. Okay, not 30, 300. Okay, all right, so we're looking at these areas in here. This is still not enough. I'm sorry, guys. This is just a little bit painful to go through in here. Let's try 200 and not 20. I don't know why it does that. Okay, all right, and we can see that we noted this gap here. We saw this move to the downside. We were looking for that move in the downside last week. We got the follow through here and into Monday. And then we saw Tuesday the move back up here. Interesting move. Here's our gap here from Friday to Monday. And then we saw the strong move buying here on this hourly here. You can't really see it too well in the candlestick. So let's just try maybe a week look back. There we go. If we look at it here, this was the move down and the move back up. So we were covering the webinar right around in here, I recall, and we're looking to see if we can get those buyers up here because we saw strong buying down here So we were looking for the move higher, and then a potential gap fill. And this is where it failed. We just couldn't find them. We were kept on kind of rooting for them. End of the webinar, and then we sold off. All right, so we can see the move lower. It gave it one more shot up here, and it just failed yet again. Now this pattern in here, and it's not so much a pattern in here on this hourly. It was just an order flow phenomena that I just kind of outlined. We're going to look at it in Bookmap in the order flow. We'll see it. We should see it in an example. It's trying to get up here. Price is trying to accept up here, and it's just not finding enough buyers. And then when it doesn't, and you start to find, or we start to see sellers on the other side, they will drive it down here, and there's no more buying pressure left. This is where the buyers step out of the way and look for a lower area, okay, to buy it back, to buy it at a discount. So the sellers have free reign in here to move it lower. That's precisely what they did. And then this is end of the day here on the 28th. Is that right? Yeah. Here's the 29th. Okay, this is yesterday. We gapped up, strong move right above these areas up here. I thought we were going to get the pattern here of strong move, pullback, strong move, and then that would be the gap fill that we're looking for. We didn't even come close to it. Overnight session, we gapped lower, in fact. And then here we are right now in the hourly chart. Right, so I just wanted to go through this because this is a really important kind of pattern in here, which you don't see the pattern in the candlesticks. It's just not there. But I want to go through this, and I'll show you what it looks like in the order flow. If we can't get the buyers, you're going to find the sellers, and they're going to drive it, and the buyers are going to step out of the way. That's what we want to look for, and we want to look for it right around in here probably. And then you can, these are some of the areas you can consider taking some profits along the way, but you're still looking for lower lows or lower swings, basically. Now here, it's kind of interesting because this is pretty strong move. Look where we've tested already, kind of a small gap fill in here as well, right? Now we're finding our buyers. Okay, I'm looking for them to trade right up here to 54, and maybe we can get a gap fill here up to 71.5 or so. All right, so strong buying coming in right now. Well, let's take a look at Bookmap. All right, and then we'll go over this pattern here in a minute here, right? But let's take a look at this strong buying. All right, so we just left off going through precisely this scenario. In fact, we covered it first, and we were looking for it. We're looking for big green dots up here at 42.5. Guys, do you see them? Do you see them here? Right? We're not making this stuff up. It just happens again and again and again. And just look for it. When you see this kind of outsized buying, we're looking for other swings or liquidity to trade. We talked about the liquidity up here at 50. It's already filled. So nice strong move in here, and that's what we're looking for. Now let me know if you guys if there's some clarity here, because this is the scenario we outlined, and this is what we want to find in here. We look for this outsized buying in here and continuation, right? And now this is something. Now this is not a style for everybody, right? But we look for this scenario, and you get it. You can jump on the train. You got your ticket. You can take some partial profits off along the way. Okay, so maybe you take a partial profit up to maybe point of control. There was a bit of a stop or kind of pull back in here, but this is a beautiful flag pattern in here, and I really hate leaning on flag patterns other than just a way of describing it. It's order flow event in here. Strong buying and a movement, a pause followed by strong buying and a strong move. That's what we're looking for, right? And we saw it initiate here, right? We saw it, and we're looking for it over in these areas in here. Let's see, we started looking at the higher time frame right around in here, and then we started going through the scenarios of like still looking for buyers, but actually the primary scenario, because of the structure here, we should look for some sellers as well, right? And we didn't really get them in here, and this is where we can look at it. Okay, some selling in here, buying came right back in, buying came back in again, now they break out. Now, one of the ways to look at this, and it's not a trade recommendation, but it's something to look into and study, is to look for this strong buying, and then look for the areas where it might go. Okay, liquidity, other areas, point of control, etc. Now, why you hear about like J Trader, for example, he hates breakouts. He doesn't trade breakout trades. All right. Others, there's FT71. There's a lot of other traders, they don't like breakout trades, and it makes good sense. However, in this breakout trade here, did you get a chance to buy it? No. So this is the strength or the positive element of a breakout trade. Okay, you would have jumped in here, you would have taken your partial profit here or full profit. Maybe you would have taken partial profit here, 46, and then you're full out at 50. Okay, so there was just no pullback. This is your pullback right here, right in here. Okay, so this is a strong move. The stronger the move, typically the more shallow the pullback. Okay, so we're understanding now. What we're covering here is take a breather here for a second, and why we're going over a breakout trade and the advantages of it. Okay, because with a strong move, typically the pullbacks are shallow, typically, because this is where the sellers are getting out of the way, and thwant not interested in selling. Why tangle with this buying beast in here? Okay, so they want to stay away from that. You'll get maybe some profit taking, maybe just the market takes a breather, and then the buying resumes again. Okay, so the strength here, when you see it, the strength of this buying a breakout is that you're looking for a strong move, and then you're not looking for a pullback, and then you're taking some profit along the way, and then you're just looking for the next setup, right? So anyway, that's the strength of looking for, or the positive elements of a breakout trade. And one of the ways to help yourself with that is something you'll need to go back and study, is to look for the strong move. All right, so if you don't get the strong move, well, then you can look for not a shallow pullback then. Okay, you can look for maybe a deeper pullback. And where that might be would maybe be, you can see a little pullback in here, right? So maybe it would pull back to about there. We've covered it in these webinars many times, so please ask questions if you want me to go over it again. But we'd be looking for maybe a deeper pullback into these kind of pockets, or wherever there's liquidity, or previous large transactions are also good areas. Okay, so for example, look at this transaction here and look at this pullback. Okay, so this is where I would recommend let's just stick with this this setup in here. Okay, we can call it a bull flag, and then we're going to talk about pullbacks, and we're going to talk about order flow. Okay, so there's really not much of a pullback in here at all. We got the high liquidity traded here and here, and that's where we got our first pullback here, okay, to here, right? That makes pretty good sense. We come back up, retest here, didn't find buyers, go back and forth, do find buyers here, but we're back in the range. Okay, now we just talked about, and this is probably going to go back higher again, but I'm just going to go with it here. All right, so just we'll find maybe a better example, but we just talked about this pattern in here, or this order flow phenomena. If it's trying to break out, is trying to break out. Now we got to look at some more bars here. Okay, and maybe we can try 100. Okay, that's better. All right, so we talked about it. Maybe we can look at 50. Okay, that's even better. Perfect. Okay, so you know, this is where we were hoping on, or looking for more buying up here, and looking for that to unfold. And then that, you know, the webinar ended. We got this pullback though. We got a retest back in the afternoon here. Oh no, I'm sorry. This was we were here for that retest here at 10 a.m. And then it was in here. So yeah, my mistake on that. Yeah, we got the retest back up here. Still looking for it. Still looking for those buyers in here. When they can't do it, and this one actually is kind of a special case. Typically, you don't even get a break above the swing in here. Okay, typically this candle here, this wick, only comes up to about here. And then this wick here would be a little bit lower as well. So they just can't, although we're finding buyers and they're coming up into these areas, we can't find enough. Okay? They could even be big green dots in here, and in these areas here. It doesn't matter. If they can't lift the offer to higher areas in here, you're going to find the sellers on the other side at some point here. Okay, so in here, that's kind of what it did. Here's our breakout, small breakout, but failed. We come back in. Here's some buying up here in the auction on the end of the little swing here, but doesn't matter. If they can't lift it higher, this is where we find the sellers, and they drive it back down to here. Okay, here again, here one more time on here, they can't make it even up to here any longer. Look for the sellers in here. Okay, here are sellers, and then they drive it back down to this transaction, maybe point of control, or back into this area, or back into lower liquidity in here. Okay, so that's still kind of unfolding here. All right, so anyway, so this is what it looks like in the order flow, right? That's what I wanted to cover in here, and this isn't the greatest example, but we'll cover it in real time. Don't worry, we'll get to it. And here's our move now. Okay, so this was that failure. Buying up here, can't make it higher, even though there might be some buying in here. Look for the sellers to take it back down. They gave it one more shot in here. They even broke this swing here, but they traded in the high liquidity, and they can't get back up into the swing high up here. Not bad though, they get pretty close. Okay, look at also, we have another thing here to take a look at. Another confluence is 38.50, high liquidity here that fills, and we just can't find the buyers. Okay, so we look for the sellers in this little micro range in here. It's not truly microstructure, just so you know, but look at the sellers here. We saw one little seller here. Now we're seeing sellers at the bottom of the range, in this small range in here. Okay, so this is the range I'm talking about, and here's that little selling right here. Okay, but here we have more. Now they have the potential to break it. Sellers do. We don't see any buying here, here, or here. Okay, that's exhaustion, but we're finding sellers here, and they drop it. Okay, again, sellers in here, looking for them to try to drop it into these areas in here, 47.5. Okay, and then that happened pretty quickly. Okay, so let me know if there's any questions on this. We're just going through the basics and the order flow in here. Truly, this is market mechanics in here, and we're understanding how to apply this to trading structure in order flow. Different setups. In this case, it was well, I don't know what this setup would be. This would be kind of like a head and shoulders in here. This would be like maybe a mini head and shoulders in here, shoulder, head, shoulder. It doesn't really matter. What matters is understanding this concept in the order flow, that we can't find enough buyers in here. Trade into this liquidity here. Can't find any more. Start to see some selling auction here, but not buying up here. We look for more selling. Then we start to look for lower areas and swings. And we look for the follow through on the sell side. Okay, so pretty simple and straightforward stuff. This will be really helpful for any type of trading strategy. Okay, if this was a volume profile, which it is, okay, the edgier profile in here, you can look for that, and then you'd be looking for trading it back into, let's just zoom out a little bit, take a look at this profile in here, which is here. You'd probably be looking for it, yeah, down to the bottom of the range in here, down to here, 46.5 or so. Or maybe bottom of this range or this kind of profile in here, 48. Okay, now you can see, look at the sellers. Actually, this is kind of interesting. Selling pressure came in to drive it through that low volume node here. Okay, sellers had enough here, and they really drive it. Someone came in with a market sell, heavy market sell, and drove it back down. Retraces back up. Don't find enough buyers. Don't find enough buyers. A little bit of selling, more selling, guys. Looking for the drop. All right. So just reading the order flow within these structures, and then looking for the follow through. Okay. So this whole move here this whole strong move here has basically almost retraced 100% now. Okay, so if you guys are, this is another reason why I like the breakout trade, because if you're a pullback trader, you'd be buying here. Right? I don't like, this is just my style, and it's something to consider for your pullback trades. Okay, if you see some sort of distribution pattern up here, which we do, then you're not a pullback trader down here. Okay, or if you are, then you're looking for another kind of accumulation pattern down here for buyers to come in and then drive it back up. Okay, or you're looking for like maybe not a strong move and then a shallow pullback and then continuation of the move. So in this case, it's not my style to start to just kind of willy-nilly jump in here and buy a pullback in front of this strong selling. However, if we get accumulation pattern, that's something different. Does that make sense? Okay, understanding that what we mean by accumulation and distribution and markup and markdown. This is 101 from Wyckoff. NC Dude, let's see, what session time do you have for the VPOC? Yeah, I think I have it reset at 9:30. Do I? Yeah, I think. I know I have my VWAP. You can see the reset here clearly. No, I don't think this is actually reset at 9:30. Yeah, no, it's not. It's not. It's in the column in here. So it's just the VPOC or the POC from the entire session that I have. Okay, so which includes to just before 2 a.m. East Coast time. Okay, so how do you enter a trade? All right, so let's go through that. Well, in here, you saw that you start to see that strong buy volume jump in. You jump in as well. Okay, it could be a buy stop for entry, or it's just market buy. Okay, now how to manage this? The consideration. Now you have to look for the strong buying. There has to be that strong buying that you're looking for, right? That's an important element in here, and you can read it all along the way in here, like on this move on up, even in these areas in here. You're looking for that strong buying all the way through. Okay, now in this case here, you're looking for strong buying that can make a higher high. Remember, we just went through that pattern, that even if it's strong buying, they can't make a higher high. You'll find this, look for the sellers on the other side and drive it lower. Okay, in this case here, we are getting kind of higher highs in here, or they're breaking some of these areas in here, and we're still seeing buyers. Look down here. Look at this retest down here. There's no selling or very little, and then very strong buying comes back in, pull back, again strong buying here. Okay, that's your entry. Okay, this is something you will need to go back and you'll need to study though. Okay, you'll need to look for these things. Find out what your probabilities are for these kinds of trades. If you're interested in that, getting into the strong move like that. Where do you place your stop? We talked about your take profits. Okay, now the stop, we covered this actually on Tuesday, because we were looking for these moves and they just couldn't do it, right? So the stop is we actually caught a little bit of it, and then stop at break even, just get stopped out. We gave it a shot, it should work, and it didn't. Okay, other times like a stop maybe down here, okay, or maybe down below this range in here. The important part here is we're looking for it to work now. That will allow you to place very tight stops. Okay, now you'll have to look for another opportunity probably several times. Because like it has to work now. Basically, you're looking for these strong buyers to lift it quickly and immediately. And if they cannot, then the timing is not right. Something's wrong. It needs to, maybe retrace a bit, come back up, find strong buying again. You can get in again. All right. Now, again, this is not a trade recommendation room in here. We're talking about different ways of reading order flow and applying one way to get in, one way to manage it here. There are many ways to manage it. Many ways to get involved here. Look, here's your pullback here. Well, this actually worked out, okay? But we're looking for a distribution or an accumulation pattern in here, though, for that to work out. Well, back and forth, back and forth. I would say it's not finished accumulating yet, basically. This is you can look at, here's a low, followed by a lower low. Buying comes in, not so much selling, not a whole lot of buying though up here, and it did break though. Okay, so again, this is what it makes up this kind of accumulation here. So now what we're looking for is buying up here, 46.5 or so. Okay, now what does this look like? What kind of pattern does this look like here? Okay, and this is pretty classic accumulation or distribution pattern. Well, in this case, accumulation. Head and shoulders. That's right. Hand and shoulders. Inverted. Yeah, exactly. Guys, I'll get to the YouTube questions in here. Just I want to help out here in Discord with what is it? Panamets. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, guys, yeah, if you over in Discord, or I mean in YouTube, if you like this kind of content and education, give us a thumbs up. Helps us out, and we subscribe to the channel. Come to our Discord as well. You can get alerts on this. You can add in, if you subscribe, you can add into the comments or ask questions, etc. And get a lot more out of it, which helps us as well. Okay, your feedback with questions and comments. All right, so here again, we just went through this scenario in here. Did we get our buyers up here? No. So would we be looking for getting involved in here for a move up higher into 49.5 liquidity up here? No, we wouldn't. It just, we didn't see that strong buying in here. Here's look at the retest here and some selling here, and now follow through to the downside, sell side. All right, so now these buyers here, let's take a look at this. Okay, where are they now? Are they just get out of the way, stepped out of the way here? Yeah, kind of looks like it. So let's take a look at this here. I'd be looking for sellers to, again, bottom edge here, 42. Looking for sellers. And then looking for them to drive it lower. Now, let's go through the opposite scenario. We got to get buyers back up here. Okay, up above, or right in here in this area here, and then we can get the move back up. Okay, which we might get now. Boy, we're not getting much here. It did auction up here. You can see in the smaller structure here, starting to see some sellers here. Yeah, I think the sellers got a shot at it. Let's see if they follow through into 40 here. And all it does is dip lower and then find buyers on the other side. Yeah, nothing really great in here. Interesting. See how they're starting to auction back up here again? Interesting. All right. Actually, let's see. Can we get a little bit more buying here? This is where we want to see it, 43.5. Okay, big green dot. There they go. They should be able to move it right back up to point of control. And then maybe our 46.50 here. Okay, now in this small time frame, you know, this would be yeah, maybe a little bit higher. Your target here, 45, and you know, take a partial profit. Okay, we're still looking though for the next move, next leg up into 46.50. Let's see it, buyers. Okay, see it auctioning up here on that buy side. Should get the move, 46.50. Okay, or more likely we will get the move is what I should say. Okay, now this is starting to look better now. There's that cluster of buying up here that we didn't really like too much. We got to get it again up here. And it's got to be up here. They got to trade into and through this 46.50 here. And we're not there yet. All right, let me quickly, since we had a good discussion going in Discord, let me take a look here. Okay, I can take a look at, you sent me a direct message. What is our YouTube? It's just look for Bookmap on YouTube. You'll find it and click on the logo, and it'll be right there on the here. I can show you. Yeah, so just you can see it right here. In fact, what is it? Bookmap_pro, or just do a search for Bookmap and click on our logo. And then yeah, here's our live stream here. Here's who's next, Tom B. At 11:30 a.m. and then options with Doug at 1:30 p.m. And then, like I said, the Algo Boys after that. Okay, at 2:30 to 4. All right. Well, see how this like just doesn't look the same as this over here. We're not really getting it here, right? So we want to see that kind of commitment of the traders. That's when they're telling us something, and that's what order flow helps us with, is the behavior of these traders, which we can see here in Bookmap. And that's what provides the edge. Okay, so let's see. Guys, look at our pullback, in fact, in here, right? We're looking for, they were starting an auction up here. Here's our breakout. Look at the pullback. See how we're just, you can line these things up when you start to understand the order flow. You can really, you really can. We can look at this structure here, and we can look at this structure here. And now we got something more to kind of look at and lean on. Okay, so let's see, do we get some exhaustion here? Yeah, we did. Okay, now the big question is, on this retracement back up here to 45.5, do we find buyers? Okay, we're not there yet. We're not even close yet. Okay, so not yet, not ready. Okay, in fact, we're starting to find sellers. Okay, they're gonna test the bottom range here. Okay, they already are. Okay, do they have enough selling pressure to break the range here? Or is this a buying opportunity to trade it back up into the range and then get our buyers up here and then our breakout? Yeah, looks pretty good. I'd go with it. And I'm looking for 46.50 and then 48. Okay. And then maybe 49 and 50 here. Okay, there's 48. Okay, see how the strength is coming in here? Okay, I would take some off here at 50. All right, so here we went through the whole thing in the live market here. Okay, the scenario we wanted was the buyers up here. We didn't get them here. We saw the sellers drive it to the bottom edge here. And then do we get our buyers starting to come in to trade it back up here? Yeah. And then we're looking for it, take a shot at it, take some off, hold the rest, looking for continuation here, 55. All right, so just again, like trying to keep it simple here and reading the order flow. And we do see a distinction. It's pretty nice, strong move here. Okay, back up to the top of this range here, which ended up failing, and we went through that whole process of the sellers coming in, and then, you know, being a pullback trader, you don't want to get involved yet. I mean, it doesn't look like a pullback to me. You got to find that kind of accumulation pattern. This is our accumulation pattern. It's not here. There's a big distinction actually. Okay, this is still downtrend. This is still mark down. This here, this rectangle is accumulation. Okay, now it's in mark up period, so we're actually still looking for higher here. All right, makes sense. Trying to clarify Wyckoff in the order flow. I think we're going to cover more. I was reading over the weekend some Wyckoff. He writes about tape reading in there. Some of the best and clearest on tape reading I've ever read. And it's really great. And when we're talking about tape reading, we're actually talking about reading the tape, the physical ticker tape from, you know, back in whenever that came out, the, you know, early 1900s or, you know, 19th century. I'm not really sure. I'd like to look that up actually, the ticker tape. When was that developed? When did that come in? What's ICT power of 3? Not sure. Oh yeah, so Marcel, we just went through the liquidity at 48. Yeah, it looks looks like a pretty good target. Like I said, I would have taken some off. So this is where that strong buying met that liquidity in here, and there was still more buying pressure. So this is another thing just to understand. Yeah, their limit sells are here, but there's more market buys lifting. Yeah, yeah, we saw it show up in the move. Okay. All right. Well, we didn't get the full move here in this mark-up period. Is it starting to kind of distribute? I don't know. It's pretty strong selling coming right back in here. Okay. So anyway, this is again another reason why to kind of put it together pieces, to look at this in your trading strategy of taking some profits, partial profits, looking for a bigger move here. Okay, really steep pullback here. Okay, probably drive it right back down to here. In your point of control at 45. All right, I think I'm caught up. I don't know what ICT power of 3 is, but well, let's move on. And let me get to the questions over here in YouTube. Okay, Captain Price. Always lots of comments. Fantastic. Mike, let's see. The only market orders are represented by volume dots. That is correct. Yeah. So, I mean, the other side of the transaction is here in the liquidity heat map. Now, there's liquidity at these levels, even though it's dark in here. You can see it. It's a graphical representation of it. We can adjust the heat map if you right click on it here and go to heat map settings. Here I can show you. I mean, like, there's liquidity in here. It's just that we're filtering it out. Okay, so anyway, I usually just keep the default settings in here for my heat map, to be honest. It works pretty well for me. Steve, good question here about how do strange days like this last day of the year affect how we look at order flow. Actually, like, as long as the moves make sense in the order flow, I think it's fine. And they've been making pretty good sense, I think. Our expectations for follow through in some of these moves have been pretty good today. I'll tell you, like, during days like of rollover period, they don't make much sense, and those are kind of tricky days. So that's and it should be today as well. I would agree with you. Some days on order flow we see nice moves though too. But more likely than not, we don't see those nice moves. So that's where, yeah, if the order flow does not make much sense, reading the behavior of other traders, because their behavior is different, because their activity is different. Where they're doing something different for the end of the year or end of the month or end of the contract period. Therefore, we kind of lose our edge in order flow because it's not making much sense. Okay, so yeah, that's where maybe look at something else. I know traders like to that's where they can get into some of the spreads, trading 1 month into the next and vice versa, and take advantage of some mispricing in there. All right, so that would be your basically your calendar spread. All right, now look at this pattern here. Okay, so want to see this? It looks pretty good, but we got to get more buyers back up here on a retest here. So we had sellers, some buying, some selling in here, but buyers come right back in and they break this small structure. And this is a little double bottom pattern in here. Okay, so now we got to get buyers back up here. If we don't, and we get our sellers down here, then this is going to be a continuation pattern, not a reversal. And we look for our sellers to drop it. And the drop will likely be down to 41 and 40 here. So, yeah. Let's see if we can get that on that sell side. That's a bit much to ask for. We've got a lot of volume down in these areas in here. We got our VWAP here. But that's, you know, yeah, not a bad area. I like 41 better because of the swings, put it that way. Yeah, it's kind of a trap idea as well, Captain Price. Like all of this would be a trap. And then we can get a really nice swing, actually. Probably, you know, not just into 40, but maybe down into 35. Let's see, JC. There's our move into 40, guys, through 41 and into 40. If you see a huge green or red dot at a pivot, could it be considered absorption? Yes. If it stops price from moving, it's likely not just absorption. It's likely an iceberg as well. No, it does not mean a pullback is imminent. No. It's just like this in here. I mean, you know, do you want to take on this just because it is traded into high liquidity here to you know, trade a pullback? No. Right? There's still more buying pressure in here, lifting it and taking it higher. Okay, so that's a misconception in here about liquidity. That's why we use the C word in here, and that's context. We know that there's more market buy orders overpowering these limit sells, and that's just supply and demand. This is really in a higher conceptual level. This is very, very simple supply and demand that, you know, from that economics class of your supply and demand curves where they meet, you know, and this is it here, visualizing it. Basically this would be your supply curve right here, and this is your demand curve here. Makes sense? Let me just draw it out. I'll give it a little bit of a curve, but it's basically a straight line. This would be kind of like your supply curve, and this is your demand curve, right? So there's still more demand, and they trade right through it. Okay, so that's why we want to understand the context of this area here. If there is more demand, then we're looking for a price to go to the next supply area, which would be here. Okay, and then how did price react up there? Pretty good. Traded into it, and then did it get above it? Is there still more demand? No. Now look at this. There's more supply at a lower level here. Okay, do we get enough demand to hit it? No. Do we have more supply down here on the sell side, the aggressors? Okay, so it's kind of flipping from supply and demand here. Now this would be your supply curve, and this would be your demand curve, basically. Okay, so still, buyers came in, they traded it here, traded it through. Interesting one here. There's more, again, more demand in here and up in here. Okay, so that's looking really good. This is why we want to be careful though, and like this is why it kind of failed up here. It came back down here. Now we're starting to look for the other side though. If it can come back down here, and there's no more demand, basically, we're looking for supply, right? In the red dots, and then we're looking for this liquidity, and you can see there's more supply still yet to trade down to this liquidity. Okay, and etc. Okay, so now where are we? Okay, this is looking good here. So this is our a kind of, this is how these distribution or accumulation patterns start to begin. Okay, so mark down. Okay, supply comes into demand here on the bid. Here we did make a lower low. Structure is still negative here, or bearish. But you know, look at the supply down here. We don't find it, right? There's more demand. All right, great. Now do we get yet more demand up here? Okay, if we do, 43, 45, okay, to where the supply is. Look at the market structure as well. JC, does that make sense? Brian, okay, let's see here. More questions. Also, Kobe. What is an iceberg with stop? Okay, yeah, pretty. Well, it's kind of complex to explain, to be honest, but a stop is when you, it's an order type. They're both order types. Okay, so a stop, when you do you place a protective stop when you take profit when you trade? If you do, then it's a stop. You know, your stop is your order type, meaning that typically, now is most likely stop at market. So if it's touched, it turns into a market order and exits you out of that trade. Okay, and if you're not using a stop, then I would suggest that you do, because if it's a limit, it might go right through it. So anyway, we can read those transactions of stops, and when there are many of them, it is a stop run. Like here's a stop run. You can see it in the red line right here. See this move lower? That means that we know, because of the MBO data from the CME, that this here is a stop run. These are stop order transactions. Okay, now look at the blue line is an iceberg order. An iceberg order is very similar to a limit order, a resting order in the order book, sitting at a specific price level waiting to get filled. However, larger players don't want to show their liquidity in the order book, so they can use a hidden order or an iceberg order, which means only the tip of the iceberg will be sent to the live market, and we don't know how much liquidity or how many limit orders they actually have. Therefore, they can hide it. However, we can discover it here via the transactions. When these icebergs start to transact, we can see it. Guys, looking for, again, buyers up here, top edge here, to complete the accumulation pattern, and then a move up into 44.5, maybe 45 3/4. Okay, we got to get them up here though, right? That's the key. Okay, so it's kind of rotating back. Let's see, do we get them in here? Yep. Let's see them lift it to 44.5, back to point of control. And a little bit of a battle. Look at this guy, disrupts the whole thing here. High liquidity right here at 43. See how this supply came in here like this and kind of stopped, you know. We got a pullback, but then they came in here. Buyers are taking them on, so the battle is kind of unfolding here. Who's going to win it, though, is the question. Do we have enough buying pressure or demand to trade into and through the supply? All right, so Brian, let me get to your question here. It looks like you asked it the other day as well, so sorry about that. Do I happen to know where the name of the program Scott used to show uptick and downtick in the small box? You might want to reach out directly to Scott. You had his email there from the webinar. That would be best. I think they're not Darvis boxes. That's another great book, actually. Oh, I forget what they're called. You're gonna have to reach out to Scott. I can't recall. Here, I'll put it into the chat for you. Yeah, hold on. Okay, so I just put it into the chat there, and you can just reach out to him. I don't know how much he uses that anymore. Yeah. Okay. Good. Let's see what else. Oh, thanks, Roomba. Yeah, helping out with the Kobe with the stops and icebergs. Kobe, I would really suggest that you go to bookmap.com. Let me show you here, and go to our knowledge base, and this is how you can get there. Like this, the website, the front page here is really about covering some of the most asked questions about why Bookmap, what is it, the features, how to connect it, what's the pricing, more about education and crypto here. So click on the more button there. That opens up a whole bunch of other stuff that covers more details here. And then you can see under resources, knowledge base, go there. Okay, and this is the user guide section right here, as you can see. I would suggest go to add-ons here. And then in here, you can see stops and icebergs that will go through what they are and describe it here for you, right? And how to read it, etc. So there's the sub chart and on chart indicators here. And if you are, there's videos, there's all sorts of stuff in here, right? So that's what I would suggest. Okay. All right, well, let's see here. Any more questions? Almost there here. I mean, this was kind of a shaky move. This started to look pretty good, and this guy just really spoiled things here. But look, there's still more buying pressure here, you know. So yeah, looking for a little bit more. Now let's go through a microstructural area. Look right here, looking for buyers. We get them. We should get them right up here. Well, 44. See how it's exhausting up here at 44. We don't have any buyers. Now we do. Now we do. All right. So now we're getting a pullback. Now looking for a retest back up here. And then if we get our buyers here, we should get up into 44 3/4 and then maybe higher. There they are. So looking for a 44 and 3/4 and then 45, 46 and a half. Okay, and we get a little bit of help here at 44. Look at that supply or demand here, and there's our move, right? So that was the only move we were looking for was up here, right? 44 and a half. That was it. And that did unfold. We're maybe holding for more for 46, 45 and a half, whatever it was, like at that time, 46 and 46 and 3/4. But we're just looking for that, okay? And that unfolded, right? Just based off of what we're covering here, and that small little auction in here, it did it. Okay, now look what happened. Sellers came in hard here. Okay, we had a stop run here. Okay, these are people getting stopped out, and not all of them, but many of them. And then we have the sellers come piling in here, okay, and they're driving it away from that area here. Okay, it's also a small stop run, and more and more and more down here. Okay, even more down here. Right, so now this is a classic false breakout here. Okay, and now look at the sellers just hammering it on the other side. Okay, so really nice trade on the false breakout. Okay, things are getting really now it's getting a little tricky, and it's what I think, I forget who asked earlier about this and said, what do you do on a tricky day? It's starting to look like that. Here's why. We're just getting false breakout, false breakdown. Buyers have the opportunity right in here, if it can auction back up here at 41 and a half or 42, to move it back into the middle of the range. So it's just bashing on one side, bashing on the other, etc. We're looking for like a continuation move in here, and actually it's possible, but it's possible for sellers to have that continuation move now, but I don't know if we're going to get that. Let's take a look. Let's go through another same example, but on a very, very small time frame in here. Same idea, guys. And if you like this, well, yeah, first off, yeah, subscribe to the channel and hit the like button there. But what I want to show here, so we are getting a little bit, see our continuation move. Okay, so we are getting it. We're getting some follow through here, and an immediate pullback already. Anyway, like these kinds of moves and this kind of education in here. First off, there's not a lot of people that will go through that, and they will not describe the market like this whatsoever. I haven't found it to really understand, hitting the bid, lifting the offer, how liquidity reacts to these areas, and understanding this will give you an edge. So if you're interested in more of that, let me show you where you can find it. It's on our educational course. So go to bookmap.com. I'm sorry, go to our YouTube channel at Bookmap. Scroll down here, and then bonus materials, Bookmap educational course. Click here, view full playlist. There's 4 parts to it. Click on the first one here, and it goes through precisely this information here, precisely what happens in the market. Understanding these basic elementary market mechanics in here, binary events in here, will help you put the pieces together to understand supply and demand, and this context that we talk about, okay, on these small time frames. Now this here, once you start to understand these concepts in here on these small time frames, like look at this up here, can't get exhaustion here, sellers, exhaustion up here on the buy side, sellers, great, should go lower, goes lower, right? Once you start to understand some of these concepts in here, then you can then apply it to all sorts of other ways of trading. It could be candlesticks, it could be here we can look at candlesticks in here on a 1 minute chart, 5 second chart, whatever, it doesn't matter. 1 minute chart, and now we can understand what makes up the candle. Okay, the candle doesn't tell us much at all. Open, high, low, and close. Okay, so we want to understand really what drives the market, what moves the market, and it's here in the order flow. Okay, so this is why I recommend that you go through our educational course, then come to these webinars, and we'll go through all the details in here. And once you start to understand these details here, then it can be applied on all time frames. We started this webinar off on this hourly chart in here, and we talked about how it failed, price failed to come up here and find buyers, look for sellers on the other side, look for them to drive it back down into these other areas where there were buyers previously. Okay, so and where are we now in the bigger picture here? Well, we were looking for buyers up here and for a gap fill. Well, we didn't even get buyers to even get up to 53 and a half or whatever, or 54, whatever it is, this swing here. You can see it's not quite up there. It failed again. Sellers are in on the other side now. Okay, so now sellers, can they pick it up here right where we are right now at 37 and a quarter? If so, we should not only get a test down to 33, but down to 27. Okay, makes sense because we failed up here. Same ideas, same concepts, and this is an hourly chart. Okay, but we know what's behind these candles, and we know what to look for in here. We're looking for supply. We're looking for where supply is going to meet demand, and demand is down here at 33 and a half, or 3 and 3/4. I think we just said 34, and then look at 30 down here. Okay, so yeah, our first swing is here at 30, yeah, 33 basically. Our second swing is down here at 27 and a half or so. All right, so 33, where's 33? Well, it's right around in here. Okay, there's liquidity in front of it. What about our 27 and a half? It's here, and I don't see any liquidity there. Okay, I see some at 30, and I see some at 25 and lower. So if we get our sellers, and we're looking for them now, right, from our higher time frame analysis, if we get our sellers here on this area down here, around 36, we should get follow through to the downside into 36, 35, and our 33 liquidity. Okay, now we're marrying our higher time frame analysis together with our lower time frame. Okay, and this is all based off of, you know, our education is all based off of just understanding these very basic market mechanics. Okay, what moves the market, and then this is all extrapolated to much higher time frames. All right, so let's see here. We'll go through a few more questions here. How can you know whether liquidity is yanked from the book or transacted? Zoom in, look for it, and here it's pretty simple, right? You can see here's high liquidity, nothing touched it, nothing whatsoever. Okay, let's zoom out though, and let's clear our drawings for a minute here, and let's look at some other areas here. Okay, this liquidity in here, okay, did it fill? See the high liquidity here? I would say yes, it did. Here's why. Look at the big green dot. Okay, we know there's supply here, and it looks like it transacted to me, but this is how you can verify it. You can zoom in. Okay, zoom into the area, and look at that. Trades right into it. There's no question about it. It filled. Look at the volume over here. 256 contracts. Look how, as it's transacting, the liquidity lowers. So this is a 100 lot in here. Okay, and then it goes to 256. But see how you can see the even the heat map beautifully just kind of fades as price trades into it, or as more buyers trade into that liquidity. All right, so look for the punctuation of high liquidity with a big dot. Okay, and then zoom in if you really want the details. Can someone help with your iceberg setups in the ES? Sure. No problem, Sozo. I don't know what it is exactly you're looking for, but I can show you mine right now for the subchart. These are them. I'm using something different than Scott. I'm just using very simple one called summation here on the accumulation method is summation. So it works just like cumulative volume delta. I do not have them aligned here in the axes. Okay, so you can see my stops is different in values here than my icebergs. Okay, so I like it though because I have the context between stops and icebergs. Doesn't matter for me. Now Scott's looking for something very specific. And then he looks at spikes. He is looking at, I think, sliding or reset, one or the other. We can look at sliding. And he does align them here. And he looks for the spikes. Now this is because he's looking for a big iceberg to fit his criteria, that he goes, wow, okay, well, now if I have this event in here is some sort of iceberg, I know that this is a pretty big player in here, and that they bought. Right now you can see, even though they bought, it doesn't matter. Price went against them. But now we can go through the scenario. What if, okay, we know their position. What if we get buyers up here? Okay, big green dot. So these guys will be in profit, and they'll likely take profit at some of these other higher swings and liquidity levels in here. All right, or maybe they're exiting. We don't know that. But anyway, this is a different way to look at it. This is the sub chart. For the on chart, you can there are many different configurations for it. For the on chart, this is a fantastic indicator. I usually kind of keep it muted here in Bookmap just because it confuses people sometimes. But it is really pretty amazing information here to show it on the chart and precisely how it unfolded, which we can show here. I use this automatic threshold in here to help out. Okay, so it kind of filters some of them here. Right now I know here's that big iceberg, that spike, right? Well, it's for 216. Here's another little spike down here, 75. Okay, here's some stop runs here for 47. All right, so anyway, now you can put this into context as well. Right now, these should not be viewed upon as signals just because they're buying or just because there's a stop run. Order flow rules first. These are confluences of the order types transacting within the order flow. Okay, so it's not a signal, but to understand the order types that are transacting, and we know what kind of traders are using these order types. Larger players are going to use a iceberg because they want to hide their liquidity. We don't have 100 lots. I don't know if maybe someone in here is trading with 100 lots. Okay, well, then they're probably using icebergs. Marcel, what kind of effect would adding high liquidity at a level far above while price is moving down? Yeah, it's hard to judge that, to really understand that context, right? I don't think in my experience, it doesn't have a whole lot. In fact, it's the opposite. Typically, if they jump in, then they are maybe you look for that as a possible target later. It's something to look at, Marcel. Marcellulos. Yeah, you guys are welcome. But look into it though. But you can also, like, you can It's pretty amazing stuff. And it makes really good sense. If you put yourself in the shoes of like a larger player, what would you do first if you had tons of liquidity? All right. Well, you would put, and Scott has talked about this actually. You would put your limit orders in as your target first, and then you would start to maybe kind of advertise in the tape, hey, look, I'm buying. Stimulate some buying in here, and people, oh wow, they're buying, to fill your liquidity. All right. Another one that another great webinar that we had. So Scott talks about that a lot. That is really interesting to hear. Yeah, there's something to that, right? And then the other the other one to watch here is we just had a pro trader webinar here with TraderAid, and they had some really interesting high liquidity, higher time frame stuff they were looking at, thinking that well, if price can trade in here and there's a next level here, well then that's where price wants to go. There's more demand down here. If the supply wants to reach the demand, it's going to be down here. Okay, so yeah, some ideas in there. Brother Chromatide, you're very welcome. Thank you for the kind words in here. Yeah, there aren't many places that find this kind of education on order flow. It's rather unique, and I don't understand why, to be honest, because this is like we were discussing. This is really what moves the market. I mean, the mechanics of it are undeniable. This is just how the market actually moves. It's by the aggressor. Okay, someone is taking the other side of the trade here with their limit orders, but it is the aggressor that traded into them. And if there's enough aggressors, they'll trade through them and make price move a tick. Okay, so very, very important to understand those mechanics. It's a lot less important to understand like a candlestick pattern. Okay, it is actually this kind of activity that makes up the candlestick pattern. That's what's important to understand. All right. So anyway, yeah, thank you for the kind words. Hey, if you like, hit us up. Let's see here. Where kind of a little bit of shameless plug. Go to our Bookmap page or home page here, bookmap.com, and scroll down. If you have any reviews, or good or bad, in here, you can go to our Trustpilot in here and click on that. Oh, here it is at the bottom here, yeah, put in what you like or don't like with our education or Bookmap. Okay, because we're trying to provide you with the highest level of high quality order flow education here, so that to make you better. It helps us, it helps you. It's a win-win. All right, so and Bookmap can display it all right in here. Yeah, monster iceberg just went off, guys. So here you go. Like, look at this. This is really interesting. Thanks for bringing that up. 3,000 here, iceberg. Look at this, guys. You can't make this stuff up. This is a larger player. There's no question about it. Who has 3,000 S&P contracts? And look how this is a kind of an old trick. They're front running this high liquidity here, and this high liquidity here might be their orders. It might be. We don't know. But it makes sense, though. This makes really good sense. Throw your iceberg in front of that high liquidity. So sellers are trying to go, oh yeah, I'll trade with this guy down here at 34.5. but they can never get there. Instead, they're hitting into this high lot iceberg order here that continues to transact. Now, it got fully transacted for 3,000 lots here. So there's still more selling pressure that traded through it. Okay, and then it traded into the high liquidity down here, and that's it. Now, if it exhausts out, watch out. Like, buyers are going to come in, and they're going to move this higher. Here's the retest. Okay, it comes down a little bit lower here. All right, now, or again, now an interesting area here, but order flow rules. Okay, order flow rules. Do we find buyers up here? Okay, regardless of the iceberg is a confluence. We just got some insight in here. Do we get buyers here though? Starting to. Okay, what about this guy here? Does he pull? Do we get buyers? Do they add more on the bid here at a higher level? More demand at a higher level? Not yet. Let's see. Let's see here. Looking for these big green dots in here. There we go. Happened too quickly. That's going to be interesting. It's an iceberg in here as well, guys. Lots of icebergs. Okay, and here's our move. So looking for 42, maybe back up to this previous point of control here. It just flipped, maybe 45 though. Okay, so anyway, guys, we're last minute going through a lot of different things in here, understanding. We're just seeing some good order flow. Some good order flow phenomena like this in here, this iceberg. Thanks for pointing that out, John Doe. Yeah, great stuff. This is really great stuff. You can't make it up. Yeah, just beautiful. Anyway, let's see. How can you understand the difference between situation behind why liquidity acts as a magnet and repels it? Okay, so this is a great question. Right now, we were looking for the move lower. Okay, this is attracting it down here, and then we're looking for 30. It got disrupted, totally disrupted, and this iceberg helped. It was a big part of that disruption. I'm sorry. The iceberg and the liquidity here at 34 was a big part of the disruption. Okay, that wasn't there previously, right? So you can see this is dynamic. Again, this is the context part. And this is why it's always so hard to, it makes you look like you're making it up, but you're not. It's fact. Here, there's an iceberg. It's massive. There's liquidity here. It's pretty massive too. Okay, so we were looking for, because of this confluence, but it was the order flow. Buyers up here looking for the move higher. Okay, and it happened really quickly here, and we're already there, still looking though for higher here. So 45, 46 liquidity here. Right now, again, it could get disrupted. Right, maybe there's a a big iceberg on the other side here now. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. All we know is what we have in front of us, and then we're looking for putting those pieces together of the behavior of other traders for a higher probability outcome. We just don't know what's going to happen though. All right. So anyway, let me get over to YouTube, answer some questions, and then we got to end it here. Tom B is up next, guys. Jump over to his stream. We have options with Doug after that at 1:30, and then over on our Discord channel we have the Algo Boys. Yeah, Roomba, this is precisely why we love to go through live order flow analysis. Because like you say here, when you can see the actual cause and effect of buying and selling visually, it really helps. This is quoting. Yeah, that's why we want to put it to the test here, the education. And we can do that in the live market here. So wonderful. Wonderful to hear. Let's see here. Lots of questions. So Okay. Yeah, hourly chart did look nasty AC, but you can see everything got disrupted here, right? We're seeing a disruption. So let's jump back here, right? Uh, we know what's in this tail down here, this wick. Okay, so I would say it's still on this hourly chart. It's still, kind of looking bearish here, um, slightly, slightly. We just don't know in here. It's right in the middle here, but we did see a lot of buying down here. Okay, so that's where we are on this hourly. And if there is enough buying in here, we're looking for a retest back up here, 53. Okay, so look for the buying to pick up in here if that scenario is going to unfold. Now, if it does, this would be the third time up here at 53. If it can auction up here with big buy volume at 53, likely we will get the break. Okay, and then maybe we can get the gap fill up to here to 70. Right, so that's a scenario to go through on some of these conditions if some of these things unfold. All right, so look for it. Now maybe it just, even though there's that large buying, that iceberg, whatever, it doesn't matter. If there's more sellers that come in and they come back down here for the third or fourth time, it's already come down here 3 times, then I would be looking for it to break lower into some of these areas here. All right, let me just finish up with the questions. Oh my God, Floyd, you know a guy who's 600 to 700 ES contracts for small scalps. Wow. Yeah, I mean, that would just, I'd probably have a heart attack. I mean, if you know you have an edge, the size, like just ramping up your size shouldn't matter. That's a lot easier to say though than to do. Okay, so Shah, I hope that we answered your question there about that 38 31 area, and it's the context after that event though. That's exactly why Scott goes through these things in here. It's the event was this, right? And now what happened after that event was what you look for. Okay, so the event was here. What was the order flow after the event? Okay, buyers up here. Yes, we're looking for that move, right? And we even said like we're looking for the move to 45, and it's still unfolding here. Okay, so anyway, this is what Scott says is a volume event, and this is it here, bottom edge, beautiful. I mean, beautiful kind of chain of events down here. Okay, I'm sure Scott is in this. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. He looks for an ATR, pull back, and then follow through. But I'm sure he's looking at this event. Put it that way. I'm sure about that. Yeah. If you want more on that, I put his contact information in the chat. Okay. And all right, guys, I think we're all finished. Well, Happy New Year, everybody. This will be the I'll actually be away next week or the next few weeks, and maybe periodically I can jump in for a webinar. But no worries. We'll have Scott J Trader, Tom B, Doug with options, and Algo Boys as well. So we'll still have a full lineup, just some of these advanced webinars here. At least, hey, maybe today's, as well as brush up on some of the educational course videos will help kick off the new year when I return, and we can take it from there. All right. So thanks everybody. Hit the subscribe button, please. That really helps us. Please hit the like button, and if you feel inclined, give us a review for the new year. What on that trust pilot that I'd showed you here on bookmap.com. This really helps us to gain your feedback and understand what you like, don't like, etc. All right. So some of those reviews. Thank you, everybody. Have a great New Year's Eve. Happy New Year, and we will see you in the next year. All right. Yep. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.